pew, pew, pew. Welcome to Light Diamond Creative Podcast Season 2. Pew, 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 pew. The Awakening Audiobiography with yours truly, sharing experiences about the awakening journey from one spirit to another, hoping that these stories, this information serves you in one way or another as you traverse your own personal experience. And as we collectively continue to move through and heal through the dark night of our soul. Today's episode 14, we are talking about awakening and alignment. And what is awakening? We have pondered this question in a number of episodes up to this point, and we continue to explore the meaning of that word, awakening. What is it? What do you think? Feel free to type in the comments below. What I can give words to about this experience is that the awakening journey is very much about the realizations of truths. Some of them through love, some of them through trauma, some more fun than others, okay? All valuable. Awakening to reality, being able to perceive reality in new ways based off lessons learned, based off epigenetics and what we decide to consume and how that affects our genetic expression. Awakening through experiencing life and searching for truth. What is alignment? Now, this is a word that I started to tap into in 2019 when I was in a deep state of grief and anxiety and fear. And I had finally tapped into meditating and had been starting my personal practice. And I started to become familiar with the phrase, it's a psychology phrase, cognitive dissonance, which you may have heard me touch on in an episode before, maybe in podcast season 1 meditation audio series. Cognitive dissonance is the misalignment or misalignments, plural, between the inner and outer realm, between the thoughts and the words, between the thoughts, words, and actions. Coming into alignment with the self would mean moving out of cognitive dissonance and into practicing values. Not just talking the talk, walking the walk. Cognitive dissonance is demonstrated in people who say one thing and do another. It's demonstrated in people who, again, talk about one thing and then the actions don't line up. And so what is alignment but the line up of all of these things, the coherence of all of this. And so alignment became for me my practice of shifting myself into acting out, speaking out my values. One of the first areas I started paying attention to was truth and words, specifically how I spoke and how I spoke to myself. How I spoke to others, even what I would agree to do or not agree to do. If I am seeking truth, then that means there is a certain amount of value in the words we speak. I had a whiteboard and I started mapping out what type of person I would like to be. As someone who was depressed and full of anxiety, how did I want to change? What would I like to become? What would I like my life experience to feel like? And these words came up as truth, responsible. Those were just a couple of them. I wanted to be happy. That's true. I really started tapping into that word, truth. And in the Buddhist practice, one of the vows is about correct speech. So this was very much on my mind and in my awareness, in my meditation practice, becoming aware of my own relationship with words and with truth, and recognizing where I was not doing so hot and changing my behaviors to more fully embody the person that I would like to become and what I would like to feel in my life. And truth really mattered. Truth maybe mattered so much because of the betrayal that was involved in my own personal traumatic experiences. I would like to fully embody truth because I would not like there to be any more experiences of betrayal on my side or someone else's. I would prefer the truth, even if it hurts a little bit more up front, than a lie, which would hurt much more down the road and totally break my trust. So with that in mind, with cognitive dissonance in mind, and with the Buddhist vow in mind of correct speech, I really started to explore my own habits and how I could take responsibility for the words that came out of my mouth and the truths that I would become aligned with. And something I discovered is a little bit about sarcasm. If we're looking at truth and if we're looking at true speech, then we start to pay more attention to the meaning of individual words. And we start to pay more attention to the tone with which something is spoken, because that can illuminate the truth within it or not. And sarcasm is a great example to study, because with sarcasm, although, I've seen the research, or not the research itself, but the final statements of the research that says kids who understand sarcasm are smarter. And that's all well and good. It's good to be able to comprehend sarcasm, and kids who live in sarcastic families need to know what sarcasm is in order to understand what their family is saying, because often sarcasm and the comments made in sarcasm are the opposite of what someone truly feels. Like, oh yeah, that, nah. That tone is very sarcastic. And when I say yeah, I actually mean no. You know what I mean? Like, someone who is being very sarcastic is usually saying the opposite of what they mean, to the degree that it is ridiculous and obvious that that is not what they mean. That's partially what makes it funny to some people. Okay. And I do want to point out that some of the body's responses are similar, like in responding to pain and crying and laughing. Laughter can be a pain response too, not just a joyous one. So I want to throw that out there, that sometimes these sarcastic comments are made and there's a little laughter here or there, but really the statement is not true, is the opposite of true, and is not funny because it's truly painful. Sarcasm, although might make someone smarter for understanding what it is not using words truthfully. And so I began to take sarcasm, the tone and the words, out of my vocal practice, because I could see the harm it could do. Something else I learned along the path of alignment and awakening is that I had the tendency to overpromise. Now, I can see now, much further down the road, that one of the reasons I would overpromise to people is because I could sense how much they wanted the thing that I had promised them before I had even promised it to them. And I wanted to be able to fulfill a promise for them because I knew they needed it based off the emotions I could sense through my own empathy. Do you know what I'm saying? Have you experienced this? To promise something to somebody because you are anticipating their needs, and there's something about you that feels the need to prove yourself or overgive in order to receive approval. Does that strike a chord? So that has been some of what I've experienced. And I realized in studying myself, my own overpromising going on, and not only did some of those promises not get filled, but I was worn out from doing things I told people I would do that I didn't really want to do, but they wanted me to do and they needed, so I thought I would offer it, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is really a game changer here, because what I found is that if I am to increase the value of my word, that what I say is true, I need to stop overpromising to people. I need to stop offering so much, say less. And that has been a radical change. Another experience within the alignment journey personally is recognizing the aspects of myself I didn't like as much through awareness surrounding the way I perceived others. I learned that how I perceived and interpreted someone else was also largely a reflection of something within myself. And if I had a habit of seeing negative things within others, that means I have a negative habit, or I have a habit of seeing the negative things within myself. Now, bringing awareness to that tells me that having a negative perspective of myself is not a healthy mind. And so how can I shift out of focusing on the negative about myself so that I can appreciate and grow what is good about myself? And then I find that as I am observing others, once I have my own issue about that resolved, I'm no longer perceiving the worst of them. I'm seeing the best in them. You see? And so others can be a great mirror for us to understand our own perspectives. And usually these perspectives are something we have on our own self. I see this person that way. I see that person. Well, I see me this way too. And I wouldn't want to talk to myself that way or that other person. So how can I get to the root of that issue and resolve it so that I, one, am no longer talking to myself that way, and two, enjoying others more because I'm not focusing on that aspect of them. I've learned how to love it within myself, and so I can apply that learning to others around me. Big process of alignment. This is also meaning becoming clear on one's values and changing behaviors, changing habits to come into alignment with that belief. For example, I am a biologist. I care about the environment. I care about all the plastics in there. I care about habitat preservation. I care about water quality and all this, okay? I care about the rate of consumption and how it's I can't say the word. Degrading, there we go. Degrading our environment. And so if I have all of this information that's accumulated over the course of my biology career, then I need to stop expecting other people to know what I know or do what I do, and I need to be the one that adjusts my own behaviors to be in alignment with the knowledge I have. For example, having a biology degree and wanting to continue that practice, the behavior that shifted I made in order to come into alignment was move my butt to a different state so I could practice my career. I needed to adjust my own internal health, and I wanted that to be in alignment with the environment. And so I stopped Buying meat from the grocery store, I stopped using plastic bags. I started composting. All of those were changes in habit reflecting an internal set of values that my behaviors started to come into alignment with. And I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm not saying it doesn't take time. It did take time, and I very intentionally adjusted my habits slowly so that I can sustain them over time, because it is a lifestyle at this point. This is what alignment means: to walk the talk, to be what you mean. It can involve career shifts. It can involve major moves across distances. It can mean even emotionally communicating something that you feel to another person. Well, I feel this way and I wish they knew. How do you think they're going to know it? Is someone else going to tell them? I bet it'd be better if you did. So why don't you share emotionally how you are feeling to resolve this issue? That would be in alignment. In alignment would be to honor the feelings and make a move based off of the compilation that the feelings, the thoughts, and the instincts are. It has a lot to do with trusting the self, and it is not easy to change, okay? But it's worth it, because it's much better to exist in a state of alignment than it is to exist in a state of cognitive dissonance. And last thing on alignment that I'll talk about in this episode is that alignment can mean literally and physically. This is what yoga is for. The alignment of the spine through the practice that is yoga. Using gravity to our benefit, using lines and angles in different parts of our body to maximize the alignment as we shift into one person or another that will keep us in physical alignment when we are outside of the practice. Physical alignment, I think, as has been shown in my personal longitudinal study, physical alignment affects emotional alignment. Physical alignment affects mental alignment. Physical alignment affects spiritual and social alignment. And emotional and mental and spiritual and social alignment, really in that internal space outside of the bones, affects the alignment of the spine, because someone who is coming into alignment will ultimately see that we need to move our bodies, and that yoga is literally one of the best practices for spinal alignment that will improve the function of the nervous system and the way messages are received from one part of the body to another, as well as helping us to release energy that is stuck in these misaligned areas that could have an emotional or mental basis for that stored energy. What do you think about that? I'm curious. I would love to hear from you. Thanks for listening so far, and I will see you all hear you all, speak to you all, be with you all in the next episode. That will be episode 15. We'll be wrapping it up soon, people, with podcast season 2, The Awakening Audiobiography on Light Diamond Creative YouTube channel. Thanks for your presence. Catch you in the next one. Peace.